Good afternoon everyone, welcome back to the Nature Patch. In today's video I wanted to catch you all up on a few things that have been happening in the garden. I said in one of my previous videos that we were ordering in a bunch of soil to fill in all of the garden beds behind me. We're creating a large permaculture style garden right next to our house so we can fill it with lots of beauty and food, so we don't have to walk too far from the house when we would like some greens or some herbs with our dinner. So it's kind of our zone 1 permaculture patch, and we're doing this with a no dig style, which pretty much means exactly what it is. You're not digging up the soil, you're keeping all of that life, worms and bugs and bacteria all intact in the soil below by building up rather than kind of turning over and digging all of the soil. I really love this method, and as an environmental scientist I do think it's one of the best ways to protect your ecosystem that you've created in your garden and encourage and maintain all of that life that is in the soil ecosystem. It's also a great way to reduce your carbon footprint. Disturbing soils is a massive contributor to releasing carbon into the air, and it's also just a lot of work to dig soil. But like always, this is just my preferred method that I like to do gardening. There are no rules with gardening. You do what suits you and your preferences and your landscape. I am by no means an expert in no-dig gardening, but I have seen that it has worked for a lot of people. Charles Dowding has some great information on the no-dig method. He's kind of pioneered it along with a few other people, and I really like his content and kind of want to replicate it here in my backyard. There are lots of pros and cons to it, which I'm not going to get into in this video. I'm just going to show you what I'm doing, and then we can follow along the pros and cons as I go and build this garden up from scratch. So as you can see behind me, the garden is nicely finished. I'll walk you through how we got to this place where we are right now. Last weekend we got a bunch of soil delivered. I just ordered from my local landscaping place because that is the only area and the only place that I could order bulk compost. I went for a mushroom compost, which is kind of a mixture of broken down straw and manure and hay. It is an organic mix and it is all natural. How much you order is totally up to you. There are a lot of different calculators online that you can use to measure out the width and the length of your soil bed and also the depth that you want your soil to be. So for this garden I ordered 4 scoops. Each scoop was just under a cubic meter, so quite a lot came in the truck and they delivered it really easy, and this was just available for me. I want to be completely transparent about how much it costs and everything like that. So I paid $305 for that entire load, including delivery, which is standard for my area, standard for buying from landscaping supplies. If I wanted, I could go and do loads and loads myself and bring it back in barrels and bags in the car. I'm not going to do that in our Subaru Forester. I don't have a ute. There are so many other places that you can get compost for, that you don't have to pay delivery. You can also just make your own compost by rotted down horse manure. You can get that for free in so many different places. Just don't have the means to bring it back, so that's why we went for the landscaping place. And again, you just do what suits you. I want to preface that here. This is not a step how-to guide on how to do no-dig beds. So once we ordered that, we were ready to prepare the beds, and to prepare them, what I did, and this is a crucial step that I didn't actually do with one of my other beds and that I really want to do from now on, and that was to actually fork the soil or fork the grass. So as you can see, there is a lot of grass in this garden, and it's really thick grass as well. Its roots are very established and it's quite hard to dig out. I've tried to dig a few holes in here. It's too hard. I already hurt my neck this weekend, so I just really don't fancy digging up all of this grass behind me. If it was a smaller area, maybe I'd consider it, or even if it's a few grass weeds here and there, maybe, but for now, no dig is the way to go for this area. And what forking the ground does, it just simply aerates the ground. So in my video that I talked about all the things you can do after heavy rain, aerating the soil is a really good idea. I just simply use a garden fork and this is just going to break up that soil. I don't need to turn it over or anything like that, but it will allow for the worms and all the bugs and bacteria and everything, microbes, to be able to move through the mixture a little bit better. So when I put the cardboard on top and then the compost, having those bits of aerated soil is really going to be beneficial to start breaking everything down. So the next step after that, I was laying down all of my cardboard straight on top. I wasn't digging anything over, I was just laying the cardboard on top. And this is going to be the barrier between the existing ground and the surface to try and kill off some of that grass. It's worked really well for me before in previous years and in previous garden beds here. It does just take a little bit of time for the grass to die. It is a little bit longer as well. I could have mowed it prior to doing this, but again, I'm a very lazy gardener. And actually all of that grass is going to break down and feed the worms as it goes. So having a little bit of grass on top is actually a good thing. It just adds in and it caps off that nitrogen that's going to be added and worked into the soil over time. With the cardboard, one thing that you do want to make sure that you cover all of the grass. Any layers or any gaps that you may have, there's just more likely to be grass that's going to grow through it. So specifically with cardboard, I'm just using boxes that we got out of our local kind of pet barn bins and shopping bins. We went bin diving, much to Scott's dismay, but he helped me out in the end. And I also picked a bunch up from Facebook Marketplace for free. Some people were just giving them away after a move. When people move, they have a ton of boxes and they're more than happy to just get them out of the house after the move. So we cleaned all of those up for them, and that's how we got our boxes, along with just saving some that we had from deliveries and things like that. So yeah, I overlaid all of that cardboard, made sure that there was no gaps in that whole layer, and then I was ready to put the soil on. So my camera died when filming this video, but I just started filming on my phone and wanted to do a little bit of a voiceover of what I was doing down the back of our property. This is the area where we're planning on doing rows and kind of making more of a market style vegetable garden and flower garden. And I've had this piece of black plastic that I had around the house on the grass for almost 2 months, just to start to kill back this grass. And I was really happy with how the grass was looking. It's not completely dead. The foliage of the grass is dead, but there are roots below that will grow if I expose it to too much light. But I just noticed that the soil was so easy to fork. It just honestly felt like butter. It was so great, and I saw so many worms in the soil. This is what I was doing with all of the other beds as well, just forking it to give some air into the soil. You can kind of see that the grass is looking really patchy, and it was really easy just to pull out all of the foliage, but there were a lot of roots still in this grass area that will no doubt grow when it gets some sunlight. So I'm just showing here all of this foliage and all of this grass is going to break down and just feed back into the soil again. So that's why I just really like the no dig approach. You're just not really disturbing the soil and letting nature do its thing. But you can see here how good this soil looks. It has really high organic matter in it. My Upa tended and cared to this garden really well, and I am thanking him now for that. There are so many worms in the soil without me really actually doing anything except putting that piece of plastic over the top. So they're all going to be my helpers. When I put the cardboard down, they're going to help break everything down even further. So we're going for about 3.5 meters in length, the beds, and they're about 80 to 90 centimeters in width. I'm not super meticulous with the garden beds, but this is just what we were going for. Just ease of use to be able to reach over the garden beds for whatever we're planting. This is what it looked like at the end. I probably put maybe about 15 centimeters of compost over on top of the cardboard. You can kind of see there, just to really build it up so that I can plant straight away into this mixture. And this cardboard usually takes maybe about 4 to 6 weeks to fully break down, but by then a lot of the plant roots, whatever I plant into this, are going to be reaching down there and are going to help break that cardboard down. So I'm really excited to transform this space here. I also wanted to just show a little bit of an overlay of what the other garden beds looked like and let you know that I also added a really good handful of blood and bone to both these beds here and the market style garden. I also added some dynamic lifter or pelletized chicken manure. You can kind of see those pellets there. And that's just going to add a little bit more nutrients into the soil as well as mulching all of the beds. And I think they look really, really nice. All right, it's definitely a few days later now. I realized I didn't finish this vlog off, so I thought I would. I just finished filming the next video actually, but I'll give you a sneak preview of what it's looking like. I have mulched all of the beds now and I'm starting to plant them out. I do like to wait just a few days before I start planting in the no dig beds, just to let the soil settle a little bit. Ideally just before or after rain is a really good time to plant. But I really hope you enjoyed seeing me bring all of these garden beds together, the whole process for it. I am really looking forward to planting out all of these gardens and creating lots of beauty and hopefully growing a lot of food as well. Thanks again so much for watching, and until my next video, happy gardening everyone. Bye.